Back at the Pepsi Arena in Albany, just a few minutes away from the start of our final quarterfinal between the Fairfield Stags and the Manhattan Jaspers. When we come back, I'll bring Glenn Consor back on. We'll break this matchup down, give you the starting lineups and much more. You're watching the MAAC Television Network. Bobby Gonzalez and his Manhattan Jaspers rely heavily on the league's second leading scorer, Darrell Brown, to carry the load in this year's MAAC tournament. The Jaspers have been the surprise team of the league so far this season, and tonight they'll be looking to surprise Tim O'Toole's third-seeded Fairfield Stags. They've got their own mountain in the middle, Darren Phillip. He leads the nation in rebounds per game. It's Fairfield versus Manhattan, our fourth MAAC quarterfinal, coming up next. Super Saturday in Albany continues with our fourth quarterfinal game of the 2000 HSBC MAAC basketball tournament. The Fairfield Stags with a record of 13-14 against the Manhattan Jaspers with a record of 12-14. And welcome back once again, everybody, to the Pepsi Arena. Doug Sherman along with Glenn Consor. And I think coming into the tournament, this was maybe the one quarterfinal that most everybody had penciled in as what should be a great matchup.
Well, and why not? Because you have two of the top teams in the MAAC conference that really like to play the up-tempo game. This is going to be a track meet. Both of these teams like to push the ball up the floor, and they both play great defense.
Okay, we're going to focus on the Jaspers' first-team All-Star, Darrell Brown. He has really gotten much better this year.
Well, Darrell Brown is doing things this year that he has never done before. One of those things is he makes three-point shots, but his ability to throw up that little jump hook inside is what makes him the 16th leading scorer in the nation. He makes three-point shots. He's just such a versatile player now for Manhattan.
Now, speaking of leading the NCAA in a statistical category, Fairfield's got a guy named Darren Phillip, first-team All-Star, leads the nation in rebounding. He is tough inside.
Well, he certainly is, and Darren Phillip could do so many things on the offensive boards. He's terrific under the basket, clearly a power player. He also leads the nation in double-doubles. He's great in the transition game. This Fairfield Stag team really rides on his shoulders.
Okay, our keys to the game brought to you by Citizens Communications. First for the Jaspers
is the obvious. They have to contain Phillips on the boards, keep him off the glass, but also as an option A, look to get the ball inside to Darrell Brown as the first option. Brown is the key. From Fairfield's standpoint, they're really going to have to do a job by having some patience in the transition game. Sometimes they like to rush shots. They really could use the clock a little bit more than they should, but also getting the ball off their defense, getting into the transition game, and getting the ball to Phillips in the block.
Well, Glenn, this could be the best game of the four that we've had here this afternoon at the Pepsi Arena in Albany. Stay tuned. We've got the starting lineups and the opening tip next between the Fairfield Stags and the Manhattan Jaspers on the MAAC Television Network. Bobby Gonzalez and his Manhattan Jaspers rely heavily on the league's second leading scorer, Darrell Brown, to carry the load in this year's MAAC tournament. The Jaspers have been the surprise team of the league so far this season, and tonight they'll be looking to surprise Tim O'Toole's third-seeded Fairfield Stags. They've got their own mountain in the middle, Darren Phillip. He leads the nation in rebounds per game. It's Fairfield versus Manhattan, our fourth MAAC quarterfinal, coming up next. Super Saturday in Albany continues with our fourth quarterfinal game of the 2000 HSBC MAAC basketball tournament. The Fairfield Stags with a record of 13-14 against the Manhattan Jaspers with a record of 12-14. And welcome back once again, everybody, to the Pepsi Arena. Doug Sherman along with Glenn Consor. And I think coming into the tournament, this was maybe the one quarterfinal that most everybody had penciled in as what should be a great matchup.
Well, and why not? Because you have two of the top teams in the MAAC conference that really like to play the up-tempo game. This is going to be a track meet. Both of these teams like to push the ball up the floor, and they both play great defense.
Okay, we're going to focus on the Jaspers' first-team All-Star, Darrell Brown. He has really gotten much better this year.
Well, Darrell Brown is doing things this year that he has never done before. score. One of those things is he makes three-point shots, but his ability to throw up that little jump hook inside is what makes him the 16th leading scorer in the nation. He makes three-point shots. He's just such a versatile player now for Manhattan.
Now, speaking of leading the NCAA in a statistical category, Fairfield's got a guy named Darren Phillip, first-team All-Star, leads the nation in rebounding. He is tough inside.
Well, he certainly is, and Darren Phillip could do so many things on the offensive boards. He's terrific under the basket, clearly a power player. He also leads the nation in double-doubles. He's great in the transition game. This Fairfield Stag team really rides on his shoulders.
Okay, our keys to the game brought to you by Citizens Communications. First for the Jaspers
is the obvious. They have to contain Phillips on the boards, keep him off the glass, but also as an option A, look to get the ball inside to Darrell Brown as the first option. Brown is the key. From Fairfield's standpoint, they're really going to have to do a job by having some patience in the transition game. Sometimes they like to rush shots. They really could use the clock a little bit more than they should, but also getting the ball off their defense, getting into the transition game, and getting the ball to Phillips in the block.
Well, Glenn, this could be the best game of the four that we've had here this afternoon at the Pepsi Arena in Albany. Stay tuned. We've got the starting lineups and the opening tip next between the Fairfield Stags and the Manhattan Jaspers on the MAAC Television Network.
Are you an athlete if you only play for bragging rights? What if you inherit your uniform? Are you an athlete if your toughest competition is yourself? What if your role model doesn't even play a sport? Or if you don't play sports at all anymore? Are you an athlete? Always. Russell Athletic, durable clothing made for the long run.
A track.
What they do well and go up and down, press and run. Hopefully be an exciting game, and it might be like Midnight Madness. It may not end until about 1 in the morning, so we'll see what happens.
Good luck, Bobby.
Thank you.
Bobby Gonzalez joining us.
This game is brought to you in part by the Pepsi-Cola Company, the joy of cola. HSBC, your world of financial services. Continental Airlines, work hard, fly right. Citizens Communications, the official telecommunications company of the MAAC. Budget, get out of the ordinary with budget. Mazda, get in, be moved. And by the New York Lottery. New York Lotto, will you be ready if it happens to you? Back in Albany, Fairfield against Manhattan in our fourth quarterfinal. Howard Simon standing by with head coach Bobby Gonzalez for the Jaspers.
Thanks, Doug. With Manhattan coach Bobby Gonzalez, everybody's expecting kind of a track meet tonight. What do you think it'll be?
Yeah, I think it'll be a good matchup. Two teams that will probably do what they do well and go up and down, press and run. Hopefully be an exciting game, and it might be like Midnight Madness. It may not end until about 1 in the morning, so we'll see what happens.
Good luck, Bobby.
Thank you.
Bobby Gonzalez joining us, the Manhattan Jaspers coach. Guys, we'll send it over to you.
All right, thank you, Howard. And the starting lineups for those Jaspers brought to you by Citizens Communications. Bruce Seals, Darrell Brown, Jared Johnson, Phil Lane, and Spud Johnson. Dangerous offensive group. Meanwhile, on the flip side, starting five for the Fairfield Stags, also brought to you by Citizens Communications, Span, Logan, Phillip, Rivers, and Clark. And Glenn, we are ready for basketball for the Sixth and final game of this Super Saturday. 2 women's semifinals, 4 men's quarterfinals, and we are underway at the Pepsi Arena in Albany. Jermaine Clark at the point. The Stags, the number 3 seed coming in, having won 3 of their last 4 ball games before the tournament. Phillip bottled up by Johnson and Brown. Back out to Clark. Wide open look. Short on it. Sam Spann the rebound. Out of bounds. It'll be Fairfield ball with 32 seconds on the shot clock.
Manhattan sitting in a 2-3 zone. Fairfield has some shooters on this team. Jermaine Clark can shoot it. Logan can shoot it as well, and so can Spann. Spann's more of a defensive presence.
Chris Rivers can also launch him up from outside.
And Mark Price, when he gets in the game, can stick some.
This is Rivers with the ball, guarded by Boulain. Shot clock down to 10. High post Phillip works his way through a double team. Didn't hit the rim, so the shot clock keeps winding down. Out of bounds off of Fairfield. It is Manhattan ball. Darrell Brown, first team All-League All-Star. The inbound against the full court pressure. Fortuitous bounce for the Jaspers right into the hands of Boulain. Johnson pulls it back out. We've got 2 Johnsons on the floor for Manhattan. Michael Spud Johnson has the ball now, point guard. And Jared Johnson, number 30, freshman forward. This is Jared Johnson with the ball.
Straight man by Fairfield, Doug.
Shot clock winding away. Brown takes it straight to the hole, and he traveled.
Interesting matchup out top. Spann defending Darrell Brown. We have seen Darren Phillip have that assignment on occasion.
Spann dribbles up against no pressure. Big rejection by Jared Johnson, but it'll be Fairfield ball on the baseline.
We saw Jared Johnson have a great game the last time these 2 teams have met, and look how high Johnson gets up on the weak side. The only thing is you want to keep block shots in bounds, even though it looks better to throw it out of bounds.
Now the other Johnson, Spud Johnson, knocks the pass out of bounds. It'll still be Fairfield possession, 20 seconds on the shot clock. Jeremy Logan. Look at the elevation and hang time. That's a rookie who has really closed out his freshman season strong.
There are not too many players in the MAAC conference that have that kind of ups as Logan.
Offensive foul against Phil Boulain. Bodies are tangled all over the place.
And Boulain had a flashback to his sophomore year on that penetration. He's had a fabulous senior year under control. That time he wasn't. So you want to stop at the foul line, shoot the little jump shot. He took too many dribbles in, picks up the offensive charge. Boulain leads the MAAC conference in assists. Also an assist-to-turnover ratio. That time, got the TO.
And there's a steal for Boulain. Jasper's trying to run. Spud Johnson waits for his teammates. 2-0 slow start offensively. Fairfield with the lead. Manhattan with the basketball. Spud Johnson, great quickness on the baseline to go around Darren Phillip for 2. Spud Johnson gets the Jaspers on the board. We're tied at 2. The winner of this one gets Iona tomorrow in the semifinals at 2:30. That'll follow the Siena Niagara semifinal. Logan traveled back over to Manhattan.
Great intensity defensively by Manhattan, and all they were doing on that defensive segment was switching on the screens. But the intensity is what caused the turnover. You talk about a guy that's intense, there's Bobby Gonzalez. He makes caffeine nervous.
One of the best sideline performers in the MAAC amongst the coaches. Johnson guarded by Rivers. Darrell Brown misfires. Darren Phillip the rebound. Get used to saying that, Doug, because Darren Phillip, the best in the nation. Phillip got his hand on the offensive rebound, but Darrell Brown pulled it in for the Jaspers. Seals kicks it back out to Brown. Spud Johnson traveled. Well, the last time these two teams faced each other was on February 20th at Fairfield. And the Stags won that game 85-77, despite 24 points from Darrell Brown. As you take a look at Tim O'Toole, head coach of the Stags. Well, without a true point guard for Fairfield, Glenn, Sam Spann seems to be filling maybe a point forward role here in the early going.
But Jermaine Clark runs the show, but Fairfield really has to try to make sure he gets some open shots. That time Rivers did a fabulous job. Joe Mihalik really thinks that Chris Rivers is one of the most underrated players in the MAAC conference. He's had some fabulous games against Niagara, really doing a nice job on the boards.
Jared Johnson spins into the paint and puts it in. Terrific move for the Jaspers freshman. He's another one of the terrific rookies, Glenn, that could have made the all-rookie team. There were many that had standout seasons.
I got to believe Jared Johnson was close in voting. A lot of guys could have been on there. The Canisius players, all three Canisius players didn't make first team.
Yep. Spann called for the over-the-back foul against the Fairfield Stags forward, and we've got a timeout. 15:40 left to go first half, tied at 4 on the MAAC Television Network. Fairfield 4, Manhattan 4, just underway. MAAC quarterfinal action from the Pepsi Arena here in Albany, and HSBC is proud to sponsor the HSBC Family Section. Tickets and programs have been provided by HSBC, your world of financial services. There you see the head coach in his first year at Manhattan College, Bobby Gonzalez. And it appeared that at that last time out, Gene Manji, one of the officials, went right into the Jaspers huddle and had something very pointed to say to Gonzalez. Don't know if they had words beforehand. But that's pretty much standard fare, though, Glenn. Nothing too terribly uncommon with a ref getting on a coach and vice versa, coach getting on a ref.
Well, a lot of times the officials will want to make that statement saying, hey, don't start the game off this way. I'm just giving you the warning now early. And that's okay. And coaches appreciate that.
Andy Busby's come into the game, as has Leroy Robertson for Fairfield. He missed his first attempt. And we've got a rebounding foul over the back by Andy Busby.
Seals did a nice job of getting inside position. A terrific job, and that's what we're talking about. He laid a body on Busby first. So all Busby can do is go over the top. See how he got inside position?
Full court pressure off the turnover by Fairfield. Jeremy Logan's in the game for the Stags, out there with Clark, Busby. Oscar Garcia's come in, and Robertson. 6'4" Manhattan. Jaspers with the ball. Boo Lane. Little runner. No good. Boo gets it back. Right back at the rack and in. Boo Lane with his first 2 points. 5'11" senior from Hagerstown, Maryland.
How about Boo getting that offensive rebound? Boo frightening in the lane.
Robertson gathers but shuffled his feet. Nice idea, but Leroy couldn't come up with the finish.
You know, Doug, we talked about how important it was in the open that Fairfield has some patience against the Manhattan defense, because Manhattan, all they try to do is make you rush. So you have to make sure you don't take the first shot, take the second. Get some ball movement, get some touches. Get 4 or 5 guys touching the basketball before you shoot it.
Nick Delfico has come in for Fairfield.
And that's not an easy thing to do, because you feel like you have the open shot and you think you're open.
Bullet pass on the one hand from Darrell Brown to Bruce Seals for 2. Great feed from the perimeter. A lot of contact, and after the whistle, Boo Lane still stood his ground and got plowed over for him. First on Johnson, Jared Johnson, and number 2 against Manhattan.
Doug, the thing that jumps out at me comparing both of these teams, they're very similar. They like to play the up-tempo, is that Fairfield is a much deeper team. And that might be an issue in the second half. Fairfield can run a lot of different looks, a lot of different people at you that could score. Garcia is in the game now. Delfico in the game now for Fairfield. Both of those guys could shoot the basketball.
Delfico picks up the personal foul, his first, and number 3 against Fairfield. 30-second timeout called by the Stags, who finished out the year strong. They were 11-7 in MAAC play, while the Jaspers under Bobby Gonzalez got off to a great start. They were 7-2 out of the gate in MAAC play, and they struggled in the month of February, losing their last 3 and 7 out of their last 9.
They started that losing streak, losing to Fairfield 77-85. Then they lost to Marist and went up against a very strong Iona team. But they've had a very, very strong year, and you talk about a guy that completely has turned the program around. Bobby Gonzalez instilling a new style of play, the up-tempo style of play, brought in Bruce Steele into the program, and that was the difference.
Well, Glenn, the winners of the New York Lottery MAAC Scholar Athlete Award are Corey Osinski from Siena College and Megan Coleman of Niagara University. Osinski's an English major with a 3.62 GPA from Schenectady, New York. Coleman, a human resources major, same GPA, 3.62, and she's from Binghamton, New York. The New York Lottery will provide new computers to Jefferson Elementary School in Rotterdam and Brookside Elementary in Binghamton. On behalf of both Osinski and Coleman, the award based on GPA, community participation, and good sportsmanship, the New York Lottery, supporting education since 1967, salutes Osinski and Coleman for their achievements. Congratulations to both. Manhattan starting to pick it up since that last time out. 6-0 run, and overall the Jaspers 5 for 7 from the floor. You see the numbers, while the Stags a little bit stagnant here in the early going. What happened to that guy?
Nice makeup job. One of the reasons Fairfield's offense has been stagnant is Manhattan's doing a fabulous job of putting on-ball pressure on the guards, and that's one of the things that, you know, Bobby Gonzalez said he was going to try to do, is really force the guards, Jermaine Clark and Leroy Robertson, to rush a little bit, play a little bit faster than they'd like to play.
Nice job by Jared Johnson to gather in that pass that hit the net on the way by. Spud Johnson tries to get it back out. The Jaspers really struggling, and finally whistle and a turnover and traveling violation. Let's send it down to Howard Simon.
Hey guys, in that last huddle, Tim O'Toole talking about offense. Actually, 2 timeouts ago, he stressed to them to get the ball inside. I think he was going to wait for the TV timeout, but they still hadn't done it, so he called it out and stressed it again. Asked them to get more movement on offense. Said they're too conservative. They need to attack, wake up, settle down, and start attacking on offense. Back to you.
Thank you, Howard. Very good point. They got it inside, but a wild shot by Delfico. Jaspers back the other way. Manhattan's opened up a 10-4 lead here in the first 6:45 of the first half. Inside they go. Darrell Brown missed the layup, but he gets it back and puts it in. Shakes his head in disgust at himself that it took him 2 shots to get 2 points.
You know, Doug, you think about the lineup that Fairfield has right now with Phillip out of the game and Rivers out of the game. Now these guys are coming back in. You really don't have a guy to really score inside. Garcia, who just scored inside, more of an outside shooter.
Hey, 6'8", 230, a freshman from Leon, Spain. Averages 5 points per game.
And he can shoot threes.
And he picks up the personal foul on the entry pass from Johnson to Johnson. Number 4 against Fairfield, and the first against Oscar Garcia. Inbound knocked away by Spann. Logan has it for Fairfield. Logan the pull-up. A little strong off the glass. The putback is good by Oscar Garcia. 12-8. Fairfield back within 4. Badu Kane has come into the game for the Jaspers. Mark Price has checked in for the first time for the Stags.
Doug, I'm very surprised that Darren Phillip has been on the bench this long a period of time. You'd think he'd be in foul trouble. He doesn't have one.
5 on the shot clock. Darrell Brown posting. Goes to the jump hook. Seals kept it alive. Rivers, though, comes down with it. Rivers off the up fake. Fouled on his way to the glass, and he will shoot 2.
Manhattan foul number 11, Bruce Seals.
Seals takes it to the basket with his left hand. He tries to keep Badu Kane on his back, and as Seals comes up, picks up the foul on Rivers on the weak side.
30-second timeout called. Seals picking up his first and the third against Manhattan. This week's Did You Know feature is brought to you by Citizens Communications, the official telecommunications company of the MAAC. And did you know that Manhattan College was originally known as the Academy of Holy Infancy and derived its present name back in 1863? I didn't know that. We've got some good ones today.
Nor did I.
This week's Did You Know feature brought to you by Citizens Communications, the official telecommunications company of the MAAC. Bobby Gonzalez, last year an assistant at the University of Virginia. First head coaching job. Just 36 years old when he took over the Jaspers program. Right now his team on top 12-8. Rivers, though, at the line, shooting 2.
And he's done a great job recruiting guys like Bruce Seals and Michael Spud Johnson coming out of junior college, getting him to Manhattan. Jared Johnson. The other thing to consider with Manhattan's team this year is Noah Coughlin has been out with a very serious groin injury that he pulled very early in the season. They just couldn't get him back, and supposedly he is ready to play in the tournament, but being out that long, now he's a shooter. Real tough call if you're a coach, if you want to make the gamble getting him in because he's been sitting so long.
Glenn, that free throw was the first missed free throw in the last couple of weeks for Chris Rivers. He had hit 20 in a row. 12-9 Manhattan. Michael Johnson, no good on the 3. Logan the rebound. Jump pass underneath. Span backs out, pulls up, short. Seals the rebound for Manhattan. Noah Coughlin at the scores table along with Darren Phillips, so Coughlin will check in at the next break. He did get into a couple of games late in the regular season, coming off of that groin injury, so he should be good to go for a few minutes at least. Price picks the rebound out of the air for Fairfield. Quickly Logan. Pass to Rivers. The layup is good. Logan is so good at elevating and making good decisions.
Well, he attracts so much attention when he's in the transition game wide open. He's one of the best players in finishing in the league as a freshman. Everybody's eyes went to Logan, and he picked out Rivers inside. Nice little draw and dish.
10:22 left to go first half. 12-11 Manhattan. Goaltending against Sam Spann. Count the basket. Darrell Brown credited with the field goal. 10:17 left to go. Here in the first half, goaltending by Sam Spann gives the Jaspers a 3-point lead on the MAAC television network. Jaspers 14, Stags 11. Nearly midway through the first half here at the Pepsi Arena in Albany. Now the MAAC will pair up with the NCAA to host future NCAA championship events, and you see them on your screen. Hoops in Buffalo later this month. Cross country in the Bronx later this year. Wrestling in a couple of years back here in Albany. Also, men's basketball NCAA tournament style back here in Albany in 2003. And also that same year, the Final Four, known as the Frozen Four, NCAA men's hockey at the Marine Midland Arena in Buffalo.
One of the things that Darrell Brown does so well is he moves without the basketball. Nice assist by Boo Lane. There's the goaltend clearly on the way down. Spann shows some good ups, but great scorers move without the ball. Know how to flash, know when to hit gaps.
Price the floater, too strong off the glass. Logan tried to finish on the fly but couldn't. Manhattan with the ball. Midpoint of the first half here at Pepsi Arena. Doug Sherman, Glenn Consor, Howard Simon in this fourth quarterfinal game of the day. Entry pass inside, Brown. Count the basket again, a goaltend against Spann. It went through anyhow. Off the great feed out front by Jared Johnson. Not too many 6'7" forwards who can make that bounce pass from the top.
See, that's where he's sealed. Nice pass out top. There's the goaltend, and Phillip is back in the game for Fairfield.
Spann the fancy finger roll.
Very surprised Tim O'Toole kept him out of the game this long.
(16-13), Manhattan leading Fairfield. Brown sets a pick for Lane. Here's Noah Coughlin. First time he's touched the ball since coming into the tournament. Jared Johnson tied up. Everybody screaming timeout. No timeout. It'll be Manhattan ball. Staying down at this end.
That was great. Jermaine Clark was on the sidelines, kneeling down below the possession arrow, and as the held ball occurred, he looked up and was pointing the other way. Then he looked back and said, "Whoops, I'm going the wrong way here."
Lane, Seals, Brown, Johnson, and Johnson out there for Manhattan, and the shot clock went off.
Didn't see it.
.8:55 to go first half. Manhattan with a 3-point lead. Stags get the ball back.
Little 1-2-2 press with Darrell Brown, 6'7", right in the middle of the floor with those long arms.
Mark Price, plenty of time to step into the three, and he dings it off the backboard. Logan will go to the line. Usually Mark Price, with that kind of time, wide open look, is going to give you a soft shot.
Yeah, he threw
freshman from Buffalo. You call it a skid muscle, or a scud missile?
A skid muscle? It was a brick muscle, I think.
Wow.
Look at Logan's hang time on this, though. Stayed up for about an hour and a half.
He's
came
still
back
in
down.
the air.
He's still going up. A skid muscle.
You like that, huh?
It's late, Doug.
Logan connects. Jeremy Logan, a two-time MAAC Rookie of the Week, once in November, once in December. And he's on the 2000 All-MAAC Rookie team. Full court pressure off the made free throw.
This has been a very low-scoring game, considering what the anticipation was going into this game. First time these two teams met, Manhattan had 100. Fairfield had about 91, 93 points.
On the flip side, though, Glenn, as expected, it's close and competitive. Span, the layup. Nice feed from Darren Phillips.
Darren Phillips had a quiet game, but he's a very unselfish player. He knows how much attention he is attracting as he hits Span inside. Span's been active this game, Doug.
Well, we saw that a couple of weekends ago in Fairfield as well.
And Span moves to the open spot. Look, two guys on Phillip. That means someone's open.
There's no way Michael Johnson's going to be able to stop Sam Span on the post. Fairfield back on top, 17-16. First time they've led in about 9 minutes. Phillip went for the steal. Bruce Seals for three. He was hit and will go to the line to shoot three. Logan took him to the floor. And so Bruce Seals will go to the strike. First on Logan and number 5 on Fairfield. And we've got a timeout. We'll step away from the Pepsi Arena in Albany. 17-16 Fairfield. You're watching the MAAC Television Network.
Marist College prepares students to compete in the .com world, educating the mind as well as educating the heart. Marist is committed to helping students develop the strong values to serve them well beyond their college years. Marist is a member of the Templeton Honor Roll, a select group of 100 colleges and universities nationwide, recognized for their commitment to inspire students to lead ethical and civic-minded lives. Marist College, proud of its heritage, preparing tomorrow's leaders.
The Stags 17, the Jaspers 16. Welcome back to Albany's Pepsi Arena as we take a look at the MAAC Championships coming up later on this year at Disney's Wide World of Sports. golf for the men and the women, April 28th, 29th, and 30th, and then followed up in October by the men's and women's cross-country championship, all down at Disney. For ticket information, call 1-800-736-6377 at Anthony Travel or go to anthonytravel.com. Manhattan with the basketball. Lane guarded by Robertson. Stags in a man-to-man. Seals the quick trigger. Darrell Brown the offensive rebound. Right back at Span. He doesn't get the roll. Phillips the rebound. Logan to Span. Darrell Brown gives Span plenty of room on the perimeter. Doesn't want him to drive past. Phillip knocked to the ground by Darrell Brown. Howard Simon was eavesdropping on the Manhattan huddle. Let's hear what he's got. Howard?
Bobby Gonzalez wasn't real happy because apparently his guys had decided to run a couple plays on their own, but they ran plays against the zone and Fairfield wasn't in his zone. So he made sure he pointed it out in the last huddle. Also talked a lot about trying to get Bruce Seals a shot. That's the last two timeouts, guys. They're trying to work the ball to Bruce Seals. He's telling him to calm down, set his feet, he'll get his points, and to get the ball inside and attack a little bit offensively. Back over to you.
Thank you, Howard. Seals with only 2 points so far. He is the MAAC Rookie of the Year, and so far pressing a little bit on those perimeter jump shots.
He's not getting open looks, and one of the reasons he's not is Logan's doing a great job of really just face guarding him, getting around the screens. Look where Logan is. As soon as he catches it, he's right in his jock.
There he is, taking it to the glass.
So he's making him put it on the floor. Logan's hoping that the weak side defense is there. So what they're doing is they're jamming Seals, forcing him to take him off the bounce. And if he could finish like that, Doug, no need to shoot threes.
Spud Johnson tracks it down, and rather than having a backcourt violation in possession because of his hustle, he gets an easy 2. Spud Johnson with 4 points. Manhattan up by 3. Logan up and down. Left his feet that time and had nowhere to go. .6:11 remaining first half.
Let's see if Boulain runs the man offense. Fairfield's in a straight man.
Round shovel pass to Jared Johnson. Phillip on the floor after it. He's tied up by Seals, our 2 Sports Illustrated focus celebrities, if you will, for the MAAC going at it. If you hadn't heard earlier in the day, talking about the fact that in this week's Sports Illustrated, Darren Phillip has a full-page feature article on it. It's the cover issue with Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire, and Ken Griffey Jr. You want to pick it up. Nice picture of Darren, and talking about the fact that he led the nation in rebounding this year, and talked about all the things he had to overcome his freshman and sophomore years in his battles with the NCAA and trying to get his eligibility squared away. Boy, he's come a long way. He was part of that championship team 4 years ago as a freshman and was able to play in the NCAA tournament. Called that game against North Carolina the highlight of his college career.
That's where his goals are set this year, to get back to the NCAAs. Not only did he lead the nation in rebounds, but he also led the nation in double-doubles. 22 of 27 games he had double-double games. 17 straight, Doug. Only 2 players in the MAAC have averaged double-double figures this year. That's Phillips and Darren Fenn.
That's very rare. Just 2 of a very select few in the country. Brown misses. Busby after the rebound. Couldn't corral it. Andy Busby the last to touch. It'll be Manhattan ball. And you know what? For the 3rd straight year, Glenn, a MAAC player has led the NCAA in a statistical category. This year, Darren Phillip in rebounds for Fairfield. Last year, Niagara's Alvin Young in scoring. And 2 years ago, Sienna's Jim Canavesa in 3-point shooting percentage.
Surprised to see the Manhattan's points all coming from that little green area that's painted, when you have shooters like Seals and Brown that can make threes. And
that drought continues. 2017 Manhattan
turned it over. It's carry.
Give your explanation again, Glenn.
If your thumbprint is facing the ceiling and you carry it over, it's a palm. It's a good call.
I like that.
And it gives the offensive player an advantage because he can really carry it any which way if he puts it up to the ceiling.
That's as clear and comprehensible as it could possibly be. Seals around the rim and out. Kane kept it alive. Rivers to Clark. Coughlin giving chase. Foul before the shot.
Nice dish by Clark. Look at Rivers go up strong with the left hand. Had about 3 guys foul him on that play. Kane, Lane, Coughlin.
They were lining up.
Pick your player for that foul.
Rivers to get a 1-and-1. He'll get the bonus. Junior from Middleburg, Florida. Aeneas Middleton comes in for the first time. Seals goes out.
Seals is doing a nice job. He's a great three-point shooter. They're forcing him to put it on the floor, and that's what he needs to do. He doesn't have to worry about shooting three-point shots as much as putting it on the floor. Take what the defense gives you versus take what you think you can get. We all know he can shoot threes. He made 9 in one game. But if the defense telling you giving you that lane, making you put it on the floor, go ahead and take it.
Coughlin into the paint. Short on the leaner. Phillip appeared to be the last to touch it, but it's Fairfield basketball. Tough to come back from injury after being away that long and have the same feel for things. Noah Coughlin short on that jump shot.
Get your timing back, your rhythm, your shot, your handle. All that's rhythm. Look at Badu Kane fronting Phillip down low. Doug, I really think that if Fairfield's going to get back into the flow of their game, they need to reestablish Phillip inside on the blocks. Get him the ball a little bit, let him score. If they do that, that could open up the outside shooting for guys like Delfico and Jermaine Clark, Mark Price. Badu Kane is fronting. There he comes and leaves Phillip for the double team, but Rivers gets fouled on the pass.
8th team foul against the Jaspers. 1-and-1 for Rivers. His career high was 24 back on January 5th against Marist. 24 points in that game for Rivers. He's got 6 so far here tonight. The Stags are the number 3 seed in the MAAC tournament. Bobby Gonzalez and his Jaspers the number 6 seed. Both of these teams, those are higher seeds than they've had in several years. Rivers 2 for 2 from the stripe. He's got 7, and we've got a timeout. 3:48 left. Here in the first half, Fairfield's regained the lead by 1 on the MAAC Television Network. Fairfield 21, Manhattan 20. Late in the first half from the Pepsi Arena in Albany. And our MAAC hockey scoreboard brought to you by Mazda. Get in, be moved. And yesterday, a full slate of games. Quinnipiac, Holy Cross, Canisius, Sacred Heart, and Iona all picked up victories. And here are the up-to-the-moment standings. Quinnipiac in first place overall, 25-5-3, and only 1 conference loss all year long. So clearly the favorite heading into the 2000 Eastern MAAC Hockey League Championship. It'll hit the ice March 16th and 18th at UConn in Stores, Connecticut. All session passes $10 apiece. For ticket information, call toll-free 1-877-AT-UCONN. Boulain guarded by Mark Price in the backcourt. Garcia called for the foul down in the low post. This Fairfield lead, Glenn, the first for the Stags in 13 minutes.
It's incredible how low scoring this game is. We have 3 minutes to go, Doug, in the first half. The score is 21-20. We thought we were going to see hundreds in this game, and Bobby Gonzalez must be a little confused himself. But you got to give a lot of credit to Boulain, who's taking care of the basketball. He's thrown the ball away a little bit, but for the most part, against this Fairfield pressure for 40 minutes, he's taking care of the basketball. Not rushing, walking it up.
Excuse me, Glenn. Seals misfires, and then he picks up the foul going over Delfico's back. We got free throws coming up again, a 1-1. But you talk about the scoring. These are the third and fourth leading scoring offenses during the regular season. Manhattan at 78 points per game and Fairfield 77 points per game.
Incredible. Manhattan has not gotten to the free throw line this half.
16 fouls against Fairfield, so the next one will put them at the stripe. Delfico missed the first. Won't get the second. Brown the rebound. Boulain 15th in the country in assists per game at nearly 7 per contest. Price after the rebound for the Stags. He saves it. Here comes Fairfield, span of the open court. Looking to create, still with the dribble. Delfico back to Span. Under 3 minutes on the clock here in the first half. Price to Phillip. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Span short on the three. Brown the rebound.
One of the reasons this has been such a low-scoring game is that neither team has really gotten points off their defense. Fairfield's the type of team, when they apply pressure, they get deflections, they cause some havoc. Manhattan's the same way. Neither team really scoring off their defense.
Yeah, we haven't seen many easy baskets, if any. Under 10 seconds again on the shot clock. That's what the offensive sets have come down to, Glenn.
It really looks like we're watching like a Ryder Maris type of game where you want to play a half-court, grind-you-out type game. Very surprising.
2 minutes to go in the half. Double team slow to come to Darren Phillip. Brown kind of easing his way down. Mark Price. Shot clock again at 10.
Manhattan changing their defense. Now they're in a 2-3. Soft 2-3.
With the shot clock down at 2 again, another long three off the mark.
Nice defense that time by Michael Johnson. You see how he ran at the shooter? Really made Delfico change his jump shot. That's what you're supposed to do. Run at the shooter, and you want to run at a right-handed shooter with your left hand.
Coughlin. No good from the head of the key. Darrell Brown misses the putback. Rebounding foul. It goes against the Jaspers. Noah Coughlin picks it up. Glenn, ouch. Outside shooting 0 for 14 combined. Fairfield 0 for 6. Manhattan 0 for 8.
So if you're sitting back at home scratching your head wondering why both teams are playing in zone, that's the answer. That stat right there. 0 for 6 from Fairfield, 0 for 8 from 3. You sit back in a soft zone, stay around the foul line, and say, go ahead. Until you make it, I'm sitting back.
A lot of scud missiles or skid muscles.
Same thing.
Both teams on the schneid for the last 3 minutes. No points put on the board over the last 3 minutes. Delfico at the line trying to snap that. He does. And he's replaced by Clark.
Both teams shooting so poorly from 3. Fairfield 0 for 6. Manhattan 0 for 8. Fairfield shooting 28% from the floor. Manhattan 34% from the floor. Ouch.
The winner of this one gets Iona tomorrow afternoon in the semifinals. Scheduled to tip off at 2:30. Nice defense by Span. Kane got it back, though. Baseline pull-up, no. Boulain the rebound. Darrell Brown from 19 feet. Off the back plate, Kane tapped it out. Logan with it. Trying to go one-on-one. Didn't know Spud Johnson was behind him. Logan missed the chippy.
They're missing layups, missing threes, mid-range shots, layups. And I think it's safe to say they're getting good looks at the baskets. Both teams. The old domino theory. Missing shots can be contagious. But if there's one constant, it's got to be defense.
See the shot clock as Brown is fouled by Darren Phillip with 9.6 seconds to go in the first half. That's number 1 against Darren Phillip. That's the 7th against Fairfield, and it was in the act of shooting, so we will have our first free throws from Manhattan on the night.
See, Brown just gets himself open. Phillip looked like a clean block. It did not look like he hit him with the body. And there's Darren Phillip saying, you gotta be kidding.
Smiling to keep from crying. Talk about guys who have racked up some pretty impressive numbers this year. Brown's numbers rack up with anybody. In fact, 8 straight 20-point games during that time. He's averaged 26 points a night.
14th in the nation in scoring, 21 points a game, 6 rebounds, shooting 50% from the floor and 76% from the free throw line. He's doing it all.
Very impressive. We've got 9.6 seconds to go before the half. Busby, Clark, Price, Logan, and Phillip on the floor for the Stags. Phil Murray has come in for Manhattan. 5 seconds. Clark working on Spud Johnson into Darren Phillip with 2 to go. He hits the turnaround from the baseline, and that does it for the half. Well, perhaps that will break the seal on the lid for Darren Phillip and the Fairfield Stags. They head to the locker room now with a 2-point lead, 24-22. You're watching the MAAC Television Network.
I assumed that college would be a long series of lectures, tests, and papers. That was until I went to Niagara University. I put my logistics major to work as an intern at Praxis. I was so well prepared that after a short time, I was offered a promotion in a full-time position when I graduated.
At Niagara, learning inside and outside the classroom are both important. We encourage students to have active learning experiences in research, internships, co-ops, and study abroad.
Niagara University. Make your education an experience.
24-22 Fairfield at the half, leading Manhattan in our 4th quarterfinal from the Pepsi Arena in Albany. At the 2000 HSBC MAAC basketball tournament, glad you could be with us here this evening as we wind down what's been a long day of college basketball. March Madness is certainly here. Doug Sherman along with Glenn Consor.
Holy smokes, you do need a little bit of a shave here. We've been here a long time, folks.
Like
Doug
that?
was clean shaven when we got here. Now he needs a little bit of a shave.
I think I've had 2 birthdays since I got here this morning, too. No, you talked about, offensively, obviously both sides have struggled. I'm almost getting the feel that I'm watching a Fairfield-Manhattan game circa 1996. Slow down. Offense waits to see something happen. It's not the 2 teams we've seen so far this year.
Yeah, I think both teams want to run, but they're really not getting into their scheme of their offensive prowess, and that is getting points off their defense. Neither team really has been able to capitalize on turnovers. Neither team has been able to get deflections or get anything off their defense, and I think that's been the storyline of the first half. Also, the guards on both teams have not been proactive. From Fairfield's standpoint, Logan scoring a little bit. We haven't seen much from Mark Price and Jermaine Clark in outside shooting or taking guys off the bounce. So that aspect, the guard play, really has been missing from both teams.
Okay, let's take a look at the final 2000 MAAC standings brought to you by Citizens Communications. Siena, the top seed, followed by Iona. There you see Fairfield, who we're watching right now in Manhattan, both pretty close in the standings. Overall, the record's pretty much the same, and not surprising that we've got a close ball game, 24-22. And now that we're almost down to our final 4, we take a look at what's happened earlier today here at the MAAC tournament, brought to you by Mazda. Get in, be moved. And on the men's side, Niagara got by Marist. Siena got by Canisius. Iona defeated Ryder. And who will win between Fairfield and Manhattan? We've got 20 minutes to go to decide who will round out the final 4 at the 2000 MAAC basketball tournament. We'll take a break. 24-22, Stags on top on the MAAC Television Network.
can pick up a lot of things at Ryder.
This game is brought to you in part by Mazda. Get in, be moved. The New York Lottery. New York Lotto. Will you be ready if it happens to you? Continental Airlines. Work hard. Fly right. Citizens Communications, the official telecommunications company of the MAAC. Chase Manhattan Bank. The right relationship is everything. Bob Stores. Great buys on brand you wear. And by SmallWorld.com, the largest independent developer of online fantasy sports games. At the half, Fairfield 24, Manhattan 22. MAAC quarterfinal action from the MAAC tournament here in Albany. And now, it's every college basketball player's dream to someday reach the NBA. Darren Phillip led the country, as we've talked about, in rebounding this year. And if he makes it to the NBA, kind of patterns himself after guys like Kurt Thomas of the Knicks, Jamie Fike of the Nets. Hard-working guys, maybe undersized, maybe not the most athletic, but his hard work and dedication have driven Darren Phillip to be one of the best players, no doubt, in the MAAC and in the East. Let's take a look.
Rebound is a dirty job.
But somebody's got to do it, and currently no one in America does it better than Fairfield's Darren Phillip. A carom-clearing machine, Phillip stands alone atop the Division I rebounding ledger. This while standing 6 inches under 7 feet. The senior captain averages 14 boards per game, nearly 2 better than his closest competitor. He's eclipsed the 15-rebound plateau 11 times this season and registered double-figure boards in all but 2 of the Stags' games.
That's hard to believe. I mean, it's really hard to believe, especially when he's 6'6" and in Division I. It's remarkable.
I don't jump the highest. I'm not the most athletic guy, but I'm learning how to play.
Not to mention learning how to lead. Darren is a marked man on a night-in, night-out basis. Opposing teams know the key to containing Fairfield is containing number 5. A job easier said than done.
Any success that we've had thus far, and I predict any success that we're going to have in the future, is going to be based on the strength of Darren Phillips. He is an unbelievable leader. He is the emotional leader. He is carrying us athletically. I mean, we're very blessed to have Darren on our team.
Phillip the rebound. Phillip the rebound. Phillip the rebound. Phillip the rebound. Do you feel that when a shot goes up, it's yours?
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely. If you don't have that attitude, you won't get rebounds.
When you watch him play, he's in good position. He works. He's constantly moving. And when you keep moving like that, you're putting yourself in a good situation to get the ball.
Not unlike Darren's idol, Dennis Rodman. How about off the court? Are you anything like Dennis?
Oh, not at all.
I didn't want to start that, because next thing Darren will have tattoos, he'll have earrings, and then he'll be all screwed up.
But not likely swayed, at least until he attains an even loftier goal, the NCAA single-game rebounding record.
51, I don't know if I can ever get that. But, I mean, that's what I said. That's what I said before at 25. I said, I don't think I'll ever get 24, and then I got 25. I guess you never know.
For the MAAC Basketball Network, I'm Kevin Connors.
Phillip the rebound. Thank you, Kevin. Darren Phillip at the half. Only 4 rebounds along with the 4 points, but his jumper right before the intermission gave his Stags a 2-point lead on the MAAC Television Network. Fairfield Stags 24, Manhattan Jaspers 22. Let's take a look at the first half stats brought to you by Citizens Communications in Glen.
Threes, and more threes. They're non-existent. 0 for 6 and 0 for 8, and I think that's really been the storyline. But take a look at the free throws. Manhattan only has 2 free throw attempts, both teams shooting the ball rather poorly from the field goal percentage as well. And rebounds have been dominated by Fairfield, although Darren Phillip only has 4 rebounds in the first half. A quiet first half, both from scoring and rebounding from Darren Phillip.
All right, we'll take one more break and have the start of the second half from the Pepsi Arena when we come back. Fairfield 24, Manhattan 22 on the MAAC Television Network.
You have a goal, a mission, something that St. Peter's College understands. Just across the river from New York's financial district, St. Peter's has helped guide students for more than 125 years. With small student-to-teacher ratio, advanced technologies, scholarship programs, and championship athletics, St. Peter's College is a perfect beginning for your growth and success. St. Peter's, the Jesuit College of New Jersey, the advantage you're looking for.
Fairfield 24, Manhattan 22. As we take a look at our first half statistics, points have been hard to come by, few and far between, but we found a couple.
Well, the scouting report from Fairfield's standpoint is to jam the Manhattan guards, make them put it on the floor, and that's exactly what Manhattan has done on a couple of occasions. Seals put it on the floor, was able to convert. We saw Spud Johnson there initially. Again, jam the players, penetrate in, one of Phillips' 4 points. And as Fairfield started to run, Logan got in the lane and Rivers was able to finish. The only few points we saw in the first half was when lecture from Bobby Gonzalez was not calm, cool, and collected. It was get Darrell Brown the ball on the block. So Boo Lane tried to do that and didn't have the right angle, and it was painful to see from Bobby's standpoint.
Boy. Logan Phillip Clark, who is good on the three. He was scoreless up to that point.
The ice is broken from three-point land.
Lane, Johnson, Seals, and Brown, the starting 5 for the Jaspers. The roundup for the Stags: Spann, Phillip, Rivers, Logan, and Clark. Seals off the curl from the foul line. He gets the roll, and perhaps the Seals broken on the other end as well.
I like that. The Seals is broken.
I gotta fess up. That was unintentional. 27-24 Fairfield. Rivers with a huge height advantage.
2-3 matchup zone. Nice pass over the top by Phillip.
Jermaine Clark heating up. Back-to-back three-pointers. And a quick timeout called. 30-24, just like that. Stags up by 6. Well, we've seen Clark over the last 2 years heat up in a hurry. He has got one of the best outside touches in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference.
Phillip does a nice job passing over the top of the zone. Squaring up nicely, shot ready, good follow-through, good balance. We've seen Jermaine Clark through the last 2 years, Doug, do a nice job from three. If he squares up and he's balanced, he's an excellent shooter. Look at the bench from Fairfield. They recognize the excitement as well, waiting for one of these guys to loosen up from three.
And Clark is maybe heating up. He had 4 3-pointers in the regular season finale. A couple of quick ones here. Meanwhile, mark your calendars now. 1 year from right now, we'll be in Buffalo at the 2001 MAAC tournament, March 1st through the 5th at the Marine Midland Arena. Call 716-855-4444 for information. .15 to shoot. Boulain. Jared Johnson, they gave him plenty of room, and he made Darren Phillip pay for sagging off.
That's because Darren Phillip was playing a zone position underneath. It was really like a box-and-1 with Phillip as the floater.
Rivers doesn't get the roll. Missed it again. Bruce Seals the rebound for the Jaspers. 30-26 Fairfield. Manhattan with the ball. Nice defense by Clark and a bad pass by Lane. Here comes Logan. He lays it in for 2.
One of the best finishers in the MAAC conference is Jeremy Logan. Only a freshman. Boy, he can get up and finish, Doug. He's got a lot of moves in the open court.
Darrell Brown comes out and sets a pick. 10 to shoot. Back into the corner for Lane. Clark got a piece. Lane dragged Clark down with him, trying to get the call and didn't get it. Good job by the official not to be drawn into that. Fairfield with the ball, leading by 6. Here's Phillip on the blocks. Lane, quick outlet to Spud Johnson. No Fairfield defender. Rotated back and an easy 2 for Michael Johnson.
Fairfield's got to be careful not to let Johnson leak like that. Get some easy baskets.
Rivers will go to the line to shoot 2. Kind of an awkward move through the paint, but he was cut off at the pass. And foul. Take a look, another look at Rivers, who looked good until he got into the paint.
Well, he goes off the wrong foot. Actually, the outside foot, tough leg to jump off of. So he really had no explosiveness or elevation on that play. And Tim O'Toole, fortunate to get 2 free throws out of it.
Rivers, as he spent much of the first half at the free throw line, back there here early in the second half. Coming into this game, he had made his last 19 foul shots. He made his first here tonight, missed the next, and then he's hit everything since. 8 points so far for the junior from Middleburg, Florida. Robertson replaces Rivers. Leroy Robertson, a 6'3" junior from Brooklyn. Three seconds to get it across. And with about a second to spare, Boulain does get it into the front court.
You watch how Jermaine Clark plays defense on Boulain. He plays way off him. I think Boulain's got to challenge him. Extend the defense a little bit, make some shots, pull out Clark. See how Clark helps out now? That's because he's laying open lane.
Jared Johnson with the putback. He's got 6. And the Jaspers into the full court press. Well, when you've got such a height disadvantage, you can see how Clark can recover and still get a hand in the face of Boulain when he puts it up. Spann missed badly in a rebounding foul against Jared Johnson of the Jaspers. We've got a timeout. Fairfield leading by 4 over Manhattan. 15:31 left to go here in the second half. You're watching the MAAC Television Network. Fairfield 34, Manhattan 30. 15:31 left to go here in the second half. And this is championship season. Hoops now in May at Marist. Baseball and softball. Lacrosse and rowing at Fairfield in April, as well as tennis at the Concord. And golf also in April at Disney's Wide World of Sports. And fans, to find out more about MAAC basketball, go online to check out the new conference website at MAACsports.com. It's updated regularly, and it's the best place on the web to get all your information about your favorite MAAC teams and players. MAACsports.com.
You see Manhattan right now going into a straight man press. They're really not getting anything off their defense, Doug. And this is a team, Manhattan College has led the MAAC conference in steals and turnover margins, not getting anything really off their defense. Doing a nice job on the defensive boards, but just not picking up any turnovers and capitalizing on those turnovers. Fairfield only turning the ball over 7 times this game.
Spud Johnson from 20 feet. Nothing but net. 9 for Michael Spud Johnson.
And the three-point gates are open.
That's right. 34-33, Fairfield with a 1-point lead and the basketball. Phillip double team, steps through it. Robertson swings to Clark. Couldn't get that one to fall. Robertson the putback. Phillip the tip. Darren Phillip with 6 points. Back to a 3-point Fairfield lead.
So look how far back Jermaine Clark plays Boulain. Way, way back. I think he's got to go at him and challenge him. Looks like Jermaine Clark's playing his own. See, now he's helping out.
Darrell Brown fouled by Andy Busby. Let's send it over to Howard Simon. He's been eavesdropping once again on the Manhattan huddle. Howard.
Yeah, guys, that last time out, a rather animated Bobby Gonzalez getting on his team for not doing the little things well. He said, I told you guys at the hotel this morning, if you're going to win this game, you got to do the little things. You're picking up dribbles, you're turning the ball over, you're missing certain shots, you're leaving Jermaine Clark open from earlier in the half. So he said, you know what, guys, you keep doing that. I'm not going to be able to help you in a few more minutes. They responded a little bit out of the break. We'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Howard. Yes, Manhattan down by 3 at the line. Is Darrell Brown. He hits the first. Well, you know, these two teams, two of the original MAAC members. Two of only 4 still in the conference, along with Iona and St. Peter's. Fairfield and Manhattan are the only 4 schools to have participated in all 18 MAAC tournaments. Iona's had the most success with 4 championships. And both Fairfield and Manhattan would love to run the table here this weekend in Albany. 36-35. Nice move on the baseline for the finger roll by Oscar Garcia.
That was a nice move, Doug. Going left, putting it up right.
There you see Clark sagging again, giving Boulain plenty of room. Badu Kane whistled for the foul on the offensive rebound.
Well, Garcia does a nice job of attacking the left baseline, and he puts it up with his right hand. Watch this. Goes left dribble. Brown just stands up on defense, throws it up with his right hand. Weak side defense wasn't there. It's a tough shot.
The ball fake froze him just long enough. 38-35, 13-17 left to go in the second half. Pass to Delfico behind him. The Jaspers get it back, trailing by 3. Bruce Seals gets a nice pick from Kane, but he misses short on the jumper. Delfico penetrates right to the rim.
Doug, I like this rookie. I like this freshman, Delfico. He's got a great feel for the game. He really understands when to attack. He's one of these guys also that really helps promote the flow of an offense.
Timeout Manhattan, 5-point Fairfield lead. The 1999-2000 Chase MAAC Men's Player of the Week have been. Well, there is half of the list, beginning way back in the first week of December. Seems like just yesterday. Darren Phillips started to heat up in the middle of January. What a 3-week stretch he had. 3 straight MAAC Players of the Week awards. Tariq Kirksey getting into the act. He won Player of the Year, but was only Player of the Week just once. That's how consistent he was.
The interesting thing about this list, that every name on that list have really been consistent players, especially this young man right here, Darren Phillip. You talk about a consistent performance. 22 double-double games this season out of 27 games. It's fabulous.
And he averages 16 points and 14 rebounds a game. Real workman.
But every name on that list have been consistent performers. It wasn't just a one-week season for those guys.
Noah Coughlin guarded by Delfico. Nice kick to Darrell Brown, who goes up strong. Badu Kane after the miss and pulls it back out for his teammate Spud Johnson. Again, Badu Kane. This time, though, he knocks it out of bounds. And it goes over to Fairfield. Noah Coughlin, you can see, got popped in the face. Letting the official know about it.
Took a nice bow to the skull. He can't afford any other injuries.
And Delfico drives right at him. He dribbled it off his foot. Off the curl, Robertson. Stripped and fouled by Boulain.
Tim O'Toole looking for some offensive punch. This guy, Mark Price, coming in the game in about 3 seconds, can really light it up. He's one of the few guys off the bench that could provide some three-point shooting, and he's terrific in the transition game.
You know what? These Jaspers are well aware of Mark Price. He scored a career-high 19 points against the Jaspers, and they all came in the second half. So he is our microwave, our Vinnie Johnson of the MAAC, if you will.
It's a good analogy.
Eight minutes gone here in the second half. 6-point Fairfield lead. Blocking foul on the drive to the basket. We have a timeout. We'll take a break from this MAAC quarterfinal. Fairfield by 6 on the MAAC television network. 41-35 Fairfield with the lead. Second half, 11:53 left to go here in the second. Here is the long distance shooter update brought to you by Citizens Communications. Bruce Seals wins it for the 1999-2000 season. Darrell Green gave a great run late but couldn't catch up. Crawford, Clark, Knapp, and Stewart rounding out the top 6. Citizens Communications, the long distance shooter of the year award.
And Doug, as we mentioned earlier, that's the third year in a row that a freshman has won the long distance shooter for the MAAC conference. Scott Knapp and Jermaine Clark the last 2 years as freshmen. Not an easy thing to do coming in out of high school.
Darrell Brown, nice feed from Badu Kane. And even though Kane doesn't score points, he's been very active.
That's a very good point, Doug. He's really kept a lot of balls alive on the offensive boards.
Any points you get from Kane, senior from Senegal, is a bonus.
Doug, I really like the intensity that Darrell Brown plays with. It's a very smooth play, but watch him play defense. He's now face guarding Garcia inside. He plays good help side defense. Look at the inside position he's got on Garcia.
Delfico fouled Lane. Let's send it back over to Howard, see what he's got now. Howard.
Hey guys, the last couple of minutes, Tim O'Toole's been preaching regaining defensive intensity. They've tried to pick up the pressure a little full court. He talked to the guys in the last huddle, no open looks. The one thing he did stress, he said, hey, Manhattan's getting in foul trouble. Push, push, push. Now's the time to attack. Make the push here, get aggressive the next few minutes, and put the pressure on Manhattan, maybe get him into worse foul trouble. Back over to you.
Thank you, Howard.
And it's not only push, 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 but it's also the fact that they're a much deeper team than Manhattan is, and this is where you want to use your bench in the second half, get them tired, utilize the foul situation.
Nobody guards Badu Kane. He passes inside to Darrell Brown. Against the double team, waited for Spann to go by on the pump fake and laid it in.
And he did a nice job of getting Darren Phillip on his back, moved him out of the way, created some space.
And again, a nice job by Badu Kane with nobody guarding him. He did defend. That time, Badu Kane just was like a bulldozer running through the chest of Darren Phillip to get that rebound. No call. Now we'll see them bang again down at the other end. Number 5 in white and number 32 in green.
Interesting matchup now. Rivers on Johnson. That's 6'7" on about 5'10".
Shot clock at 7. Lane spins in the lane, misfires. Rebound, Mark Price. Logan was fouled on the shot, and he'll shoot 2. Not many fouls here in the second half. Just the 5th against Manhattan. Fairfield's committed only 3.
Boo Lane helps out now on the shove. Watch this little shove. Now, actually, it was Kane. I thought it was Lane. Instead, it went to Kane.
Logan, a 6'5" freshman from New Rochelle. Went to Milford Academy before heading to Fairfield for Tim O'Toole's program. Logan's finished out strong, averaging 15 points a game over the last 5 for the Stags as they won 3 of those 5.
He's just going to get better as the years go on. He's got that strong body. He's got great legs. Really can get his shot off. He's got great elevation. He just shoots over people.
Spud Johnson bottled up. Gets it to Darrell Brown. Here comes Noah Coughlin. .9:35 to go second half. Jaspers down 4 with the basketball. Brown sets a screen. Here's Darrell in the low post. Spins away from Spann, but he's whistled for the traveling violation.
Brown did a nice job coming off the stagger screen. He didn't think he traveled. Brown rarely shows emotion. Usually cool, calm, and collected, but at about 10 after 11 at night, things change, including our voices.
Count the basket and 1, Darren Phillip. 8 now for Phillip.
Jermaine Clark does a nice job with the little lob entry pass. Phillip, 2 power dribbles, takes up the whole team, half the Pepsi Arena, and 3/4 of downtown Albany. Just goes up strong.
He made the analogy earlier in the year, Glenn, very Moses Malone-like. Just somehow gets to the rim in spite of guys flying all over the place.
Yeah, and he battles. He just keeps battling. If he misses it, he goes up and gets it.
Phillips with 8 points and 7 rebounds so far here tonight. Well, the 1999-2000 Chase MAAC Rookies of the Week. As we rattle them off for you, you see Jared Johnson from Manhattan. Also Bruce Seals, who went on to become the Rookie of the Year. Chase MAAC Player of the Week and Player of the Year brought to you by Chase Manhattan Bank. The right relationship is everything. Very well balanced. Some years we see it just completely dominated by 1, 2, or 3 guys, but completely spread around this year.
Yeah, I remember when Ricky Bellinger was a freshman, he had won it almost every other week. Jason Rowe as well.
Fairfield on top by 6. It matches its biggest lead. Phillip can't add to it. Rivers tries to pick up the offensive rebound, but cannot.
With 5 minutes to go, Doug, Fairfield has its biggest lead, only 6 points since it's been nip and tuck.
.850 left to go in the second. Spann pulls it back out. Got to find another option. Now he finally does get it into Phillip, who spins away and can't get the roll. After it again. Manhattan basketball.
See, while everyone was attacking Phillip on the glass, Spann established some inside position, but he just couldn't finish it. Boy, Manhattan very much out of sync offensively.
And they scored only 39 points through the first 32 minutes. Brown earns the trip to the line, but nothing has come easy here tonight.
You know, Darrell Brown plays that power forward spot. Tim O'Toole knows he's a tough matchup because he moves so well. He really moves like a 3. He flashes to the basketball. He uses some staggered screens. He can make 3-point shots. Just such a versatile player. And that's why he has made first-team All-MAAC. One of the 3 unanimous choices. Marcus Faison, Kirksey, Venn.
Spann and Rivers go out. Busby and Robertson back in. .16 for Darrell Brown to lead all scorers. Manhattan back within 5. 8 minutes, 8 seconds left to go in regulation. Logan stripped on the way up and fouled by Jared Johnson. Nope, Bruce Seals gets it.
See if Fairfield can get the ball into Logan in the backcourt where he can go and operate. That's when Fairfield becomes dangerous. We saw it when Niagara played with Damon Stewart. Throw it over the top, let him go one-on-one. These two guys, Stewart and Logan, two of the top players in the league, the transition game.
Glenn, that foul on Bruce Seals, his 4th. And Jared Johnson from Manhattan also playing with 4 personal fouls. We've yet to see Mars Mellish come in the game. Veteran reserve guard for the Jaspers. How about Robertson? That's a nice spark off the bench. Backup guard comes in and gets an offensive rebound on a missed free throw and puts it back in and gives Fairfield its biggest lead of the night, 48-40.
Fairfield's really playing 5-on-4 because they're laying off Boo Lane. So they're double teaming everyone else that has the ball and forcing Lane to shoot. He's got to shoot it.
2 seconds left. It's a hot potato. Finally, it's put up, but it's an air ball. It'll be Fairfield ball when we come back. Timeout with 7:20 on the clock. Tim O'Toole's Fairfield Stags lead by 8 on the MAAC Television Network. Small World, a new internet sponsor of the MAAC, is the largest independent developer of online fantasy sports games. You can play Small World baseball, football, hoops, and hockey all for free, and they'll have the best NCAA bracket game on the internet called Journey Through the Tourney, where you can sign up and compete against 50 friends and against the world. Small World is based in New York. MAAC fans would love to play and compete in Journey Through the Tourney. If you want to find out more about Small World games, go to www.smallworld.com.
Well, Doug, I put together a little list of my thoughts on who were some of the most improved players in the MAAC conference, and that goes from one year to another, and a couple of guys are out here on the floor playing. First team, Darrell Brown clearly had just had a tremendous year. Tom Kenny, Mario Porter, Boo Lane, Darrell Green from Niagara. Second team, Osinski, Stewart. A couple of those guys are on the first team. I think we should pay attention more to that first team. I don't know where that second team came from. But those guys, if you think about it, Mario Porter, what he did last year, Darrell Brown, what he did last year, Boo Lane, a tremendous turnaround from last season, and Fairfield starting to pour it on.
Jermaine Clark now with 8 points. 10-point Fairfield lead, 50-40, under 7 to play. Boo Lane, Bruce Seals, Jared Johnson, Noah Coughlin, and Darrell Brown on the floor for the green and white. Jared Johnson short on the jump shot. Andy Busby the rebound. Now Fairfield a little more content to work some time off the clock, and hand check against Boo Lane for the foul. Let's send it back over to the third member of our broadcast team for a moment once again, Howard Simon.
Guys, Bobby Gonzalez trying to lift the spirits of his team, and that last time out he was looking at them, staring each of the 5 starters in the face one by one, going, you guys, you got a glassy-eyed look on your face. You look like you're scared. You're playing like you're scared. Don't play to lose. Go out and play to win. He said, hey, you play like this, you're going to lose by 20. Stop being scared. You were down 8 at that point. He said, you're fine. You got time to get back in this game, but you got to play to win, and don't play scared. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Howard. The last time the Jaspers led this game, at the 4:05 mark of the first half. Stags got a jump shot from Darren Phillip right before the intermission, Glenn. And that gave him a 2-point cushion, and they've been leading here in the second half. Now up to an 11-point lead. Well, regardless of the outcome of this game and whether the Jaspers season continues to the semifinals tomorrow or ends here in the quarterfinals, it's been a great run. This Manhattan team was picked in the preseason by the coaches with a rookie coach to be the 10th best team in the league, or in other words, the last place team in the league. They certainly have been anything but the last place team in the conference. Manhattan finished 9-9 in the regular season in the MAAC and the number 6 seed in this tournament.
Well, right now Fairfield is just controlling the basketball by pushing the ball inside, banging it down low, getting the ball to Phillip, who's been the leader of this team all season. He's the go-to guy on the blocks. As quiet of a game as Darren Phillip has played, he could still have another double-double.
Yep. He just keeps grinding. Spud Johnson back in for Manhattan. Aeneas Middleton, who had been on the floor briefly, goes back to the bench. Phillip gets the roll. Well, he's got half of the double-double down. The hard part for him quite often. 10 points, and he's got 9 rebounds. Darrell Brown, the layup. He leads all scorers with 18 points. 11-point game. On the turnover, Brown short on the 3. Boulay soars in for the rebound, missed the putback. Seals has it knocked away by Busby. Tipped ahead, Darren Phillip. Count the basket and one. Spud Johnson fouled it. That's a dozen now for the senior co-captain from South Shore High School in Brooklyn.
Doug, this was a great example why you cannot dribble a loose ball. Watch this. Kane keeps it alive. It goes to Seals. Seals is trying to dribble this loose ball. All he's got to do is pick it up. He picks it up. It's Manhattan possession. Instead, it goes down to the transition game. Fairfield, bucket, and foul.
And one. No, but a tip. No. It's the second time Robertson's gotten in off a missed free throw to get a hand on it. 13-point Fairfield lead. Biggest of the game.
Boulay has to go at Jermaine Clark. I'm sorry. He's got to go at him and shoot a shot right in his grill.
Seals shot blocked by Phillips out of bounds.
See, he's hurting his team by just dribbling it out and running the offense. He's got to make himself a threat. Time is running down for Manhattan.
Seals had his shot blocked by Logan, but he's whistled for the foul.
Fairfield foul number 42, Jeremy Logan. His second personal.
Logan's second personal, and just the 5th on Fairfield here in the second.
Seals gets inside, and Logan goes up out of position, just off balance on defense.
Breaking the action because the net on the one end was a little bit caught up. So Chris Rivers was the anointed one off the Fairfield bench to go out and knock it down. Back at the other end, Seals to the line to shoot 3. Freshman from Ashland, Massachusetts. He was born in Seattle back in the mid-late 70s. When his dad was playing for the Seattle Supersonics. One more for Bruce Seals, who was fouled in the act of shooting on the 3-point attempt. You may have just heard Bobby Gonzalez in the background. We don't need Howard Simon to interpret him, saying, guys, 5 more minutes. We got lots of time. 5 more minutes. Keep plugging. And indeed, it's an eternity, trailing by 11. Seals goes out after hitting 2 out of 3. Full court pressure by the Jaspers. Busby fouled by Coughlin. at midcourt.
See, Coughlin got there way too late. If you're going to stay behind someone playing that kind of full court press, you want to make sure that you're there getting the deflection after he catches it. Keep the guy in front of you. That's the whole key when you're applying full court pressure. You want to keep people in front. You don't have to get steals, and Bobby Gonzalez knows it.
Busby, the other tri-captain, if you will, along with Darren Phillip, gets his first point here tonight. Career high 18 points a couple of years ago at Central Michigan. There you see the difference from the stripe. Kane the rebound, but he's immediately tied up by Phillip. On the alternate possession, it'll be Fairfield ball. So that won't go in the column of another rebound for Darren Phillip, but it may as well be. Lob into Robertson. Boulain had his head turned, but the Stags couldn't cash in. They pulled it back out.
Fairfield going with a three-guard offense to run some clock and take care of the basketball.
Badu Kane trying to front Darren Phillip. Called for the foul. That's 5 on Badu Kane, and he has fouled out. And for the senior from Senegal, if his teammates don't rally, that could be his last time on the court as a collegian. Johnson comes in to replace Badu Kane. Had a strong first half, helped the Jaspers stay close. Very active. Some good passes, fouls out. $14 now for Darren Phillip. He was on a free throw shooting streak coming into the game as well, 16 in a row. His numbers continue to rise. Phillip, strong post. Somehow the ball bounced out. Here comes Michael Johnson. Boulain for two. Phillip the rebound, another double-double for the 6'6" senior from Brooklyn. How many double-doubles in a row is that, Glenn?
18.
Unbelievable.
Phenomenal stat.
Well, in our halftime feature, the analogy was made that he's almost Dennis Rodman-like in his workmanship on the board. He brings more offense to the Fairfield attack than Rodman has ever brought. But as I said in that Sports Illustrated article this week, he wasn't comparing himself to NBA players, but he's of the same make of San Antonio's Malik Rose, Kurt Thomas of the Knicks, Jamie Fike of the Nets. Warriors, not necessarily the greatest athletes, but warriors.
And you know he's going to get a look in some of these postseason camps like Portsmouth, where he could show some of the things that he does so well, and you never know who he's going to impress, Doug, at the next level.
And it's compounded in his favor that he's a good kid. Going to have his degree, and certainly would not do any damage to somebody's NBA roster. He would be a quality guy to add. I say kid. How about me now calling 22-year-olds?
How about you, the old man, calling these guys kids, huh?
Well, from my perspective.
Sitting there with your overalls and your pipe.
Mm-hmm.
Pop.
I haven't been in college since the 80s, 2 decades ago. Brown's got 20 points, so that extends his streak. That's 9 straight games with at least 20 points for Darrell Brown. That's nearly as remarkable as some of the numbers Phillips putting up. Nice feed, the assist to Phillip. Busby lays it in. Maybe Phillip is going to work on a triple-double here.
Well, Fairfield's playing smart basketball. Because what they're doing right now is they're getting the ball up the court, and they're showing some great patience. How do they do that? They get the ball into Phillip. He recognizes a double team. Busby crashes the boards. Wide open, hits the gap. Easy layup and the foul.
Phil Murray in, Noah Coughlin out. Murray, a senior from the Bronx. Each team shooting only 35% in the nightcap of our 4 quarterfinals of the MAAC tournament here in Albany today. Busby completes the three-point play, and that takes us to our next timeout. 3:46 on the clock. Fairfield's opened up a 63-46 lead on the MAAC television network.
What are those stories?
That about people. Let's try an interval of about 15 milliseconds. That's half of what the PISA was.
The aspects of the retreat, like you talked about friendship.
Also about what that knowledge means for the human spirit. I know that students are concerned about it.
This game is brought to you in part by HSBC, your world of financial services. The Pepsi-Cola Company, the joy of cola. Citizens Communications, the official telecommunications company of the MAAC. Budget. Get out of the ordinary with Budget. Chase Manhattan Bank. The right relationship is everything. And by Bob Stores. Great buys on brands you wear. 3:46 to go second half. Fairfield, just like that, has opened up a 17-point lead. It was a 2-point lead at halftime, and the Stags have steadily pulled away. Bobby Gonzalez has put his 2 remaining eligible seniors on the floor. Phil Murray out there. Badu Kane is fouled out, and Boulain has been out there from the outset. Phillip, blocked, jump ball. It'll stay down Fairfield possession. This copyrighted telecast of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the MAAC and MAAC properties. There you see Bruce Seals heading to the bench. Bobby Gonzalez escorts him down there. Spud Johnson to the front court. Good defense by Robertson. Johnson just lost the dribble on his hesitation move. Mark Price back in. Replacing Robertson. He's a young man who's really improved his game over the last couple of months of the season. 6'3" junior from Brooklyn, went to Boys and Girls High School. Shot clock under 20. Phillip on single coverage with Murray on the blocks. Under 10 to shoot. Clark resets. Hand check called against Michael Spud Johnson.
And foul number 21, Spud Johnson. His second personal.
Well, that shot tells it all. Bobby Gonzalez, it's been a long evening. He's watched his team struggle offensively right from the get-go.
You know, Doug, when you look at the ebb and flow of this basketball game, you notice that Darrell Brown had put up some good numbers. He's got 21 points and 8 rebounds, but Manhattan has had almost no points scored off of their defense. This is a team that typically will press you for 40 minutes, go after you, get turnovers, capitalize on those turnovers. We haven't seen it once this game from Manhattan.
Nope.
We saw it once, and they turned it right back over. And Manhattan's the type of team that has to play that up-tempo style of play to get shots off. That's how guys like Seals get open looks. Spud Johnson, 5'11", two-guard was coming out of the game. That's how he gets open looks.
Now Mars Mellish has come in for the first time for Manhattan, a junior guard.
Because when you think about Manhattan's personnel, they don't have that many players that can really take you off the bounce and create on broken plays.
Mellish turns it over. No, that's true.
Or when that shot clock is whittling down. The only guy that can really do it is Darrell Brown.
Boo Farrow has come into the game. So we got Boo on Boo. Boo Lane.
That's frightening.
Guarding Boo Farrow. A boo-boo. We got Johnson and Johnson and a boo-boo. 2:08 left to go in the second. 64-46 Fairfield. There's Phil Murray, transferred from Bowling Green State University a couple of years ago to Manhattan College, wrapping up his college career. Darren Phillip goes out. High fives all around, and the fans who made the drive in from the Nutmeg State give him a nice round of applause. It appears the Stags will be in the semifinals tomorrow afternoon against Iona. 20-point lead for the Stags. Reaching on Garcia. It's only the 6th team foul against Fairfield here in the second half, Glenn. Number 4 on Garcia.
And that's why there's been that disparity going to the line this game. Fairfield 26 for 36 free throw attempts. Manhattan only 7 for 9 from the free throw line. Wow, that's huge.
Mars Mellish with the tip in, his first 2 points. Sunday Enojuken has come into the game for Fairfield as well for the first time. Carey called against Charles Boo Farrow. He has had an injury-filled 3 years at Fairfield. Hand injury as a freshman, ankle as a sophomore. This year his season interrupted back in December with a left thumb that was fractured, out for 6 weeks. Getting some run here late in the MAAC quarterfinals at the Pepsi Arena. Mars Mellish with the fresh legs, fires it up. Kyle Walsh has come into the game for Fairfield. Mellish knocked it out of bounds. Fairfield ball. Well, today's Pepsi player of the game is Darren Phillip, senior forward for the Stags. Another double-double, 16 points, 14 rebounds. Solid from the line. Phillip, our Pepsi player of the game. Pepsi, the joy of cola.
That's 18 straight double-double games and 23 out of 28 games double-double scoring and rebounding, Doug.
Not bad at all. Enojuken kicks it back out off the hand of Walsh, who tracks it down. Walsh fouled on the shot. He'll get a chance to go to the line and shoot 2. Tim O'Toole Stags will have a quick turnaround before the semifinals tomorrow. A 2:30 tip. And I would imagine that the Iona Gales, Jeff Ruland's got them back in the hotel by now and have them settled down. First matchup in the semifinals tomorrow at noon, Siena versus Niagara. And then it'll be Iona versus Fairfield. The final 4 of the 2000 MAAC tournament. Aeneas Middleton and Jared Johnson come back in for Manhattan. Lane and Murray come out, the 2 seniors. They embrace with Bobby Gonzalez over on the sideline as the final seconds tick away on their season and on their careers. Mars Mellish for 2. Aeneas Middleton the steal. He was fouled with 0.6 of a second to go by Walsh. Joe Dreyer, a walk-on for Fairfield, has come into the game. What that foul has done is given me a chance to say Joe Dryer's name for the friends and family who may be watching in Leonia, New Jersey.
And Michael Young is in the game.
Michael Young, friend of yours, friend of the family.
Got to throw him in there.
Did his folks make the trip in?
They are here.
They are here. Okay.
Walking in.
Mark, former Fairfield superstar.
All-American.
Who was just passed this year by Darren Phillip in the all-time rebounding category. And a juke in the rebound, and that'll do it. The Fairfield Stags, it wasn't very pretty, but they advanced to the semis. Final score, 67-50. Fairfield moves on to take on the Iona Gales tomorrow. We'll be back to wrap things up from the Pepsi Arena right after this on the MAAC Television Network. This game is brought to you in part by HSBC, your world of financial services. The Pepsi Cola Company, the joy of cola. Citizens Communications, the official telecommunications company of the MAAC. Budget. Get out of the ordinary with Budget. Chase Manhattan Bank, the right relationship is everything. And by Bob Stores, great buys on brands you wear. 3:46 to go second half. Fairfield, just like that, has opened up a 17-point lead. It was a 2-point lead at halftime, and the Stags have steadily pulled away. Bobby Gonzalez has put his 2 remaining eligible seniors on the floor. Phil Murray out there. Badu Kane is fouled out, and Boulain has been out there from the outset. Phillip, blocked, jump ball. It'll stay down Fairfield possession. This copyrighted telecast of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference cannot be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the MAAC and MAAC properties. AC Bruce Seals heading to the bench. Bobby Gonzalez escorts him down there. Spud Johnson to the front court. Good defense by Robertson. Johnson just lost the dribble on his hesitation move. Mark Price back in. Replacing Robertson. He's a young man who's really improved his game over the last couple of months of the season. 6'3" junior from Brooklyn, went to Boys and Girls High School. Shot clock under 20. Phillip on single coverage with Murray on the blocks. Under 10 to shoot. Clark resets. Hand check called against Michael Spud Johnson.
And foul number 21, Spud Johnson. His second personal.
Well, that shot tells it all. Bobby Gonzalez, it's been a long evening. He's watched his team struggle offensively right from the get-go.
You know, Doug, when you look at the ebb and flow of this basketball game, you notice that Darrell Brown had put up some good numbers. He's got 21 points and 8 rebounds, but Manhattan has had almost no points scored off of their defense. This is a team that typically will press you for 40 minutes, go after you, get turnovers, capitalize on those turnovers. We haven't seen it once this game from Manhattan.
Nope.
We saw it once, and they turned it right back over. And Manhattan's the type of team that has to play that up-tempo style of play to get shots off. That's how guys like Seals get open looks. Spud Johnson, 5'11", two-guard was coming out of the game. That's how he gets open looks.
Now Mars Mellish has come in for the first time for Manhattan, a junior guard.
Because when you think about Manhattan's personnel, they don't have that many players that can really take you off the bounce and create on broken plays.
Mellish turns it over. No, that's true.
Or when that shot clock is whittling down. The only guy that can really do it is Darrell Brown.
Boo Farrow has come into the game. So we got Boo on Boo. Boo Lane.
That's frightening.
Guarding Boo Farrow. A boo-boo. We got Johnson and Johnson and a boo-boo. 2:08 left to go in the second. 64-46 Fairfield. There's Phil Murray, transferred from Bowling Green State University a couple of years ago to Manhattan College, wrapping up his college career. Darren Phillip goes out. High fives all around, and the fans who made the drive in from the Nutmeg State give him a nice round of applause. It appears the Stags will be in the semifinals tomorrow afternoon against Iona. 20-point lead for the Stags. Reaching on Garcia. It's only the 6th team foul against Fairfield here in the second half, Glenn. Number 4 on Garcia.
And that's why there's been that disparity going to the line this game. Fairfield 26 for 36 free throw attempts. Manhattan only 7 for 9 from the free throw line. Wow, that's huge.
Mars Mellish with the tip in, his first 2 points. Sunday Enojuken has come into the game for Fairfield as well for the first time. Carey called against Charles Boo Farrow. He has had an injury-filled 3 years at Fairfield. Hand injury as a freshman, ankle as a sophomore. This year his season interrupted back in December with a left thumb that was fractured, out for 6 weeks. Getting some run here late in the MAAC quarterfinals at the Pepsi Arena. Mars Mellish with the fresh legs, fires it up. Kyle Walsh has come into the game for Fairfield. Mellish knocked it out of bounds. Fairfield ball. Well, today's Pepsi player of the game is Darren Phillip, senior forward for the Stags. Another double-double, 16 points, 14 rebounds. Solid from the line. Phillip, our Pepsi player of the game. Pepsi, the joy of cola.
That's 18 straight double-double games and 23 out of 28 games double-double scoring and rebounding, Doug.
Not bad at all. Enojuken kicks it back out off the hand of Walsh, who tracks it down. Walsh fouled on the shot. He'll get a chance to go to the line and shoot 2. Tim O'Toole Stags will have a quick turnaround before the semifinals tomorrow. A 2:30 tip. And I would imagine that the Iona Gales, Jeff Ruland's got them back in the hotel by now and have them settled down. First matchup in the semifinals tomorrow at noon, Siena versus Niagara. And then it'll be Iona versus Fairfield. The final 4 of the 2000 MAAC tournament. Aeneas Middleton and Jared Johnson come back in for Manhattan. Lane and Murray come out, the 2 seniors. They embrace with Bobby Gonzalez over on the sideline as the final seconds tick away on their season and on their careers. Mars Mellish for 2. Aeneas Middleton the steal. He was fouled with 0.6 of a second to go by Walsh. Joe Dreyer, a walk-on for Fairfield, has come into the game. What that foul has done is given me a chance to say Joe Dreyer's name for the friends and family who may be watching in Leonia, New Jersey.
And Michael Young is in the game.
Michael Young, friend of yours, friend of the family.
Got to throw him in there.
Did his folks make the trip in?
They are here.
They are here. Okay.
Walking in.
Mark, former Fairfield superstar.
All-American.
Who was just passed this year by Darren Phillip in the all-time rebounding category. And a juke in the rebound, and that'll do it. The Fairfield Stags, it wasn't very pretty, but they advanced to the semis. Final score, 67-50. Fairfield moves on to take on the Iona Gales tomorrow. We'll be back to wrap things up from the Pepsi Arena right after this on the MAAC Television Network.
Now, what'll it be, sweetheart?
Let me guess. A nice, cold Pepsi. I wouldn't want to hear one of those crazy voices of yours, huh?
Honey, you ain't heard nothing yet. Hit it, fellas.
Enjoy the power and beauty of your youth. Don't worry about the future. Sing. Finally, a minivan to live by. Introducing the all-new Mazda MPV.
The Fairfield Stags hold the Manhattan Jaspers to their lowest point total of the season. The Stags move on. The Jaspers go home. It's Fairfield against Iona in the semifinals tomorrow in the 2000 HSBC MAAC tournament. And Glenn, it wasn't pretty, but it was effective. The Stags get a win.
Well, we thought we were going to see a game in the 90s or the 100s, but the game was a slow-tempo game, slow, grind you out, a lot of turnovers. But more importantly, I thought Fairfield did a great job in the second half of getting the ball to Darren Phillip, showing some patience, throwing it into him in the low blocks. He really took control of this game, both from the rebounding standpoint and scoring in the paint in the second half. Manhattan picked a poor time to score their fewest points all year.
Okay, let's take a look at our MAAC tournament brackets. This is what's happened today. Siena and Niagara moved down this afternoon. Tonight, Iona and Fairfield make it to the Final Four. Final thoughts after a long day, partner, Glenn?
Well, I think that some of the teams that we thought would be in the semifinals are here. Siena, Niagara doing a great job. Fairfield, of course, and Iona are going to be a great matchup. So the top teams, the top-seeded teams, are here in the semis. You got it all tomorrow.
Okay, we'll be back at noon tomorrow with the men's semifinals, women's basketball championship at 5:30. For Glenn Consor, Howard Simon, our entire crew for our all-day coverage from the Pepsi Arena. Thanks for watching the MAAC Television Network. This game is brought to you in part by HSBC, your world of financial services. The Pepsi-Cola Company, the joy of cola. Citizens Communications, the official telecommunications company of the MAAC. Budget. Get out of the ordinary with Budget. Chase Manhattan Bank, the right relationship is everything. And by Bob's Stores, great buys on brands you wear. 3:46 to go second half. Fairfield, just like that, has opened up a 17-point lead. It was a 2-point lead at halftime, and the Stags have steadily pulled away. Bobby Gonzalez has put his 2 remaining eligible seniors on the floor. Phil Murray out there. Badu Kane is fouled out, and Boo Lane has been out there from the outset. Phillip. Blocked. Jump ball. It'll stay down Fairfield possession. This copyrighted telecast of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the MAAC and MAAC properties. AC Bruce Seals heading to the bench. Bobby Gonzalez escorts him down there. Spud Johnson to the front court. Good defense by Robertson. Johnson just lost the dribble on his hesitation move. Mark Price back in, replacing Robertson. He's a young man who's really improved his game over the last couple of months of the season. 6'3" junior from Brooklyn, went to Boys and Girls High School. Shot clock under 20. Phillip on single coverage with Murray on the blocks. Under 10 to shoot. Clark resets. Hand check called against Michael Spud Johnson.
And foul number 21, Spud Johnson. His second personal.
Well, that shot tells it all. Bobby Gonzalez, it's been a long evening. He's watched his team struggle offensively right from the get-go.
You know, Doug, when you look at the ebb and flow of this basketball game, you notice that Darrell Brown had put up some good numbers. He's got 21 points and 8 rebounds, but Manhattan has had almost no points scored off of their defense. This is a team that typically will press you for 40 minutes, go after you, get turnovers, capitalize on those turnovers. We haven't seen it once this game from Manhattan. Nope. We saw it once, and they turned it right back over. And Manhattan's the type of team that has to play that up-tempo style of play to get shots off. That's how guys like Seals get open looks. Spud Johnson, 5'11", two-guard was coming out of the game. That's how he gets open looks.
Now Mars Mellish has come in for the first time for Manhattan, a junior guard.
Because when you think about Manhattan's personnel, they don't have that many players that can really take you off the bounce and create on broken plays.
Mellish turns it over. No, that's true.
Or when that shot clock is whittling down. The only guy that can really do it is Darrell Brown.
Boo Farrow has come into the game. So we got Boo on Boo. Boo Lane.
That's frightening.
Guarding Boo Farrow. A boo-boo. We got Johnson and Johnson and a boo-boo. 2:08 left to go in the second. 64-46 Fairfield. There's Phil Murray, transferred from Bowling Green State University a couple of years ago to Manhattan College, wrapping up his college career. Darren Phillip goes out. High fives all around, and the fans who made the drive in from the Nutmeg State give him a nice round of applause. It appears the Stags will be in the semifinals tomorrow afternoon against Iona. 20-point lead for the Stags. Reach it on Garcia. It's only the 6th team foul against Fairfield here in the second half, Glenn. Number 4 on Garcia.
And that's why there's been that disparity going to the line this game. Fairfield 26 for 36 free throw attempts. Manhattan only 7 for 9 from the free throw line. Wow, that's huge.
Mars Mellish with the tip in, his first 2 points. Sunday Enojuken has come into the game for Fairfield as well for the first time. Carey called against Charles Boo Farrow. He has had an injury-filled 3 years at Fairfield. Hand injury as a freshman, ankle as a sophomore. This year his season interrupted back in December with a left thumb that was fractured out for 6 weeks. Getting some run here late in the MAAC quarterfinals at the Pepsi Arena. Mars Mellish with the fresh legs, fires it up. Kyle Walsh has come into the game for Fairfield. Mellish knocked it out of bounds. Fairfield ball. Well, today's Pepsi player of the game is Darren Phillips, senior forward for the Stags. Another double-double, 16 points, 14 rebounds. Solid from the line. Phillip, our Pepsi player of the game. Pepsi, the joy of cola.
That's 18 straight double-double games and 23 out of 28 games double-double scoring and rebounding, Doug.
Not bad at all. Anajukin kicks it back out off the hand of Walsh, who tracks it down. Walsh fouled on the shot. He'll get a chance to go to the line and shoot two. Tim O'Toole Stags will have a quick turnaround before the semifinals tomorrow. A 2:30 tip. And I would imagine that the Iona Gales, Jeff Rulin's got them back in the hotel by now and have them settled down. First matchup in the semifinals tomorrow at noon, Siena versus Niagara. And then it'll be Iona versus Fairfield. The final four of the 2000 MAAC tournament. Aeneas Middleton and Jared Johnson come back in for Manhattan. Lane and Murray come out, the two seniors. They embrace with Bobby Gonzalez over on the sideline as the final seconds tick away on their season and on their careers. Mars Mellish for two. Aeneas Middleton the steal. He was fouled with 0.6 of a second to go by Walsh. Joe Dreyer, a walk-on for Fairfield, has come into the game. What that foul has done is given me a chance to say Joe Dreyer's name for the friends and family who may be watching in Leonia, New Jersey.
And Michael Young is in the game.
Michael Young, friend of yours, friend of the family.
Got to throw him in there.
Did his folks make the trip in?
They are here.
They are here. Okay.
Walking in.
Mark, former Fairfield superstar.
All-American.
Who was just passed this year by Darren Phillip in the all-time rebounding category. Anajuk in the rebound, and that'll do it. The Fairfield Stags, it wasn't very pretty, but they advanced to the semis. Final score, 67-50. Fairfield moves on to take on the Iona Gales tomorrow. We'll be back to wrap things up from the Pepsi Arena right after this on the MAAC Television Network. The Fairfield Stags hold the Manhattan Jaspers to their lowest point total of the season. The Stags move on. The Jaspers go home. It's Fairfield against Iona in the semifinals tomorrow in the 2000 HSBC MAAC tournament. And Glenn, it wasn't pretty, but it was effective. The Stags get a win.
Well, we thought we were going to see a game in the 90s or the 100s, but the game was a slow-tempo game, slow, grind you out, a lot of turnovers. But more importantly, I thought Fairfield did a great job in the second half of getting the ball to Darren Phillip, showing some patience, throwing it into him in the low blocks. He really took control of this game, both from the rebounding standpoint and scoring in the paint in the second half. Manhattan picked a poor time to score their fewest points all year.
Okay, let's take a look at our MAAC tournament brackets. This is what's happened today. Siena and Niagara move down this afternoon. Tonight, Iona and Fairfield make it to the Final Four. Final thoughts after a long day, partner, Glenn?
Well, I think that some of the teams that we thought would be in the semifinals are here. Siena, Niagara doing a great job. Fairfield, of course, and Iona are going to be a great matchup. So the top teams, the top-seeded teams, are here in the semis. You got it all tomorrow.
Okay, we'll be back at noon tomorrow with the men's semifinals, women's basketball championship at 5:30. For Glenn Consor, Howard Simon, our entire crew for our all-day coverage from the Pepsi Arena, thanks for watching the MAAC Television Network.